Ladies and gentlemen, I am Yuzral. The game is Star Trek Online and welcome to Holodeck happenings for the 6th of June 2014. We'll start with a quick side note. Those of you who watched older editions of the Holodeck will be familiar with my little moan about the end of the Undine Counter-Command tier, namely that there wasn't a mission for it. This has now been fixed. You will automatically get a hail from Admiral Rex as and when you hit tier 5, and it has the expected payoff: 750 marks, 32,000 ore, 40,000 energy credits, and the Counter Command Agent title, which is kind of nice. Still a shame that we didn't get much of a plot to go with this patch's reputation track, but hey, at least they put the shinies in. Meanwhile, the Risa event has started up for 2014. You can access this by heading to Risa at the pretty much the south end, if that's the right term for a galactic map. Or, if you are Klingon, lazy, or just plain enthusiastic to get there, open your journal, click the Lohlunat Summer Festival, and then hit Transwarp. Either option will see you neatly deposited in Risa orbital space. Try not to hit anybody on your way in, it's rather crowded up there at the moment. And when you get there, simply approach the planet. You don't have to get very close, just a little bit. And the local traffic control will pop up. The classic beach zone is open to Federation-aligned players only. It's considered too civilized, too peaceful for the Klingons. What we want is the summer resort. All of last year's facilities are in place. I covered this a year ago in one of the earlier holodeck happenings, so little has changed. The Corvette has been replaced by the Risian luxury cruiser. This is the new ship that you can get. As before, it costs 1,000 Lohlunat pearls via the reputation track. Should you not have finished the Corvette earlier on, you will still have to burn pearls to complete that. However, alts will be able to pick both of these ships up for 40 pearls a time. That is to say, 1 day's acquisition of pearls, because the way you get your pearls is by completing the Flying High event. This gets you 40 pearls. This is on a 20-hour cooldown as per the usual daily quests, and you will require a floater. Should you happen to have mislaid your floater from last year, I don't know where I put mine, you can pick up a rental floater, or you can acquire shinier models through Lohlunat favors. There are in fact some new models, including pink, orange, green and yellow for both the enhanced and superior grades. I'll just quickly pick up a riser floater, and this works the same way as last year. Pick your course, start your quest, and then activate a floater to get the mission going. So we'll just pop that on, equip it. It's device, so it has to be used, and hey presto, that is our trace active. Now you can complete 3 courses in 10 minutes. Simply follow the markers, find your start point, and get moving. Additionally, Cryptic have listened to the comments from last year, and we now have swimwear costumes available for the various models. So yes, we potentially have Gorn in Speedos. You can earn these via the Horgan Hunt and the dance floor. We're looking at Lohlunat favors again. And it should be noted, however, that swimwear is not duty wear. It can only be worn on Risa. So happily, the High Council will be spared the ordeal of having to claw their own eyes out. What else do we have? Oh yes, swimwear. Let's have a look at prices. So it's basically 500 to 1,000 a time, depending on what you want to go for. Again, luckily, well, it's not quite Speedos, but, well, near enough, especially on a Gorn. However, let's see what other options we have. Wetsuits. various options. It's worth noting that females get rather more in the way of options than males. But then, hey, that's Star Trek. This is the series that gave us the thigh titillation theory. Men basically get shorts and wetsuits, both full and partial. Customization is a matter of essentially picking the most garish colours you can. I expect some truly shocking combinations. In addition, if you are in a hurry to get your Rizian Cruiser, you can pick up Lohlunat Pearl Bundles and Lohlunat Favour Bundles for Lobi crystals. 5 crystals at a time. It's a small bundle of pearls, the frankly are vague, so you know what, let's pick up a few. I happen to have some Lobis stashed away, and let's see what we get in a highly unscientific survey. 3 bundles, so we have 5, 4, and 4. I actually got 3 on an earlier run, so that kind of gives you a perspective. It's not quite 1-to-1 for Lobi overall, probably more like 0.6 to 0.8, give or take on average. Highly unscientific. That was nowhere near a representative sample. Do not use this video as evidence with which to bash Cryptic. Back onto the cruiser itself, 44.1k. Hull baseline, turn rate of 10, impulse modifier 0.16, 40 inertia, 10 shield and engine power, a soliton wave converter, which is quite an interesting little console, as well as the usual array of cruiser commands, an RXS prefix, and if you're interested, something called a quantum slipstream drive, or rather a solar sail quantum slipstream drive. I have no idea what this does. It might just be a special animation. Until we can get hold of the cruiser itself, there is no way to tell, and I don't have enough Lobi to shortcut the whole get the cruiser via the floater challenges route. So we're just going to have to content ourselves with drooling over what is basically a heavily armed luxury liner in space. Oh, by the way, the bridge officer stations, Lieutenant Commander Tactical, Ensign Engineering, Commander Engineering, Lieutenant Science, Lieutenant Universal, which is pretty nice, it has to be said. Lieutenant Commander Tactical's a bit hard to get hold of if you're a Federation captain. You're looking at the Excelsior, the Avenger, and not too many other options. Commander Engineering, Lieutenant Universal, Ensign Engineering. Well, if you stick an engineer into the Universal slot, you could just about pull auxiliary to battery. But you could also double up on your science lieutenants and get slightly more flexibility in your repair and support builds, so that's worth considering. All in all, pretty nice cruiser if you haven't got a high-end fleet grade ship already. It is a 10 console job, 5 engineering, 3 tactical, 2 science. Definitely worth picking up at least as an experiment. Risa also has the virtue of having installed site-to-site transport, so we can hop between the promenade and the resort. It's worth noting that if you're at either transport pad, the relevant option is greyed out, so you can't beam yourself to the same location. And I don't think you can self-telefrag, but it would be an interesting experiment. Anyhow, the new area is home to the Powerboarding, a few duty officers, and perhaps most critically, the monkeys. Yes, monkeys. Looking at the Powerboarding first, this is very similar to the fastest game on ice. Essentially, it's a surfboard with a small engine and a few stabilizers to make it easy to use, and indeed, you can only use the powerboards on Risa, and you can only use them over water. The game will automatically dismount you should you hit land. You'll get a warning when the race starts. This happens about once an hour. And in addition, should you use a floater, you'll be disqualified. If you go in land, you'll be disqualified. And essentially it's a mad dash for the boy. If you played not the fastest game on ice, although the handling is rather similar, but the Eppo tag race in the Winter Wonderland, you have a good idea of what you're going to be in for. There are also some heavily customized models available. Interestingly, we have Federation and Klingon options. Although there's a rather curious point here. If I bring up the store, and then proceed to scroll down. Yes, these are faction limited. You cannot, in a display of diplomacy and unity and respect for your opponents, pick up the other side's faction-specific power boards, nor, I believe, can Romulans pick up the faction board for which they are aligned. So, blue, green, or red, it's down to you and which race you picked. Meanwhile, we have monkeys, birds, and other fun upstairs. Monkeys, ladies and gentlemen, the Rizian Feather Monkey. You need to acquire Rizian Feather Monkey tags to do that. They can be found dotted around the island. And, well, the monkeys function much like the Epos, only slightly more, well, monkey-like. Duty officer missions as before in a similar way to the birds. And speaking of the birds, the ornithologist has moved over here. So, this is much the same as it always was. If you are familiar with the Epo mechanics from the Winter Wonderland, you will find little to surprise you there. And like Epos, if you don't want a monkey friend, you can turn them into marks at a vendor. Rizian bartenders are also dotted around, as you would expect. What's a holiday resort if you can't get moderately plastered after all? However, of real interest to the power gamers are some new duty officers. They can be found at the Rizian Officer Requisition Store. This is out on the eastern side of the island. And they are available for Lohlunat favors. However, there is a catch. To get the high grade versions, you have to have completed the Master Relaxer accolade. We'll look at the officers first. There are three types: con officers, entertainers, of course, and geologists. So, con officers, first of all, there is a power boost after exiting evasive maneuvers. Moderate boost to engine power, small boost to all other systems for 10 seconds. Needless to say, the blue version is of lower quality than the purple. However, he is considerably cheaper and easier to get hold of. He is, however, missing the resolve trait as well. Entertainers are curious. You have to have a subspace party amplifier. Those are the disco balls you've seen flying around on Space Dock without a doubt, and anyone who dances under its influence gets a 5-minute bonus to dodge. Yeah. I'm just envisioning a highly trained team of crack honor guard and or Mako beaming onto a ball cube, pulling out an amplifier and then getting a dance party on in front of all the drones. Which is simultaneously hilarious, and my lore nerd is screaming in horror, but that's another matter entirely. No longer are those things purely the preserve of people who like winding up Earth's space dock. They're actually useful now, which is possibly the single most horrifying thing in existence. Geologists are really only of use to science captains. The exothermic induction field is our set the ground on fire ability. Usually we have to mix it with a root effect to get the best out of it, or people just move out of the 5 and the AI is smart enough to do that. However, 10% chance of rooting targets of your exothermic induction field, wahahaha, for 4 seconds. In Disco Inferno indeed. The lower version, 7.5% chance, and things get hot, hot, hot. Absolutely. And not too shabby as duty officer traits go. Congenial, emotional, peaceful, resolves, seductive, what else do you expect? And lose the resolve trait going into the blue quality. The Master Relaxer accolade, if I can find it. Display all. Knock out the completed ones just to make it a bit simpler. It's down here somewhere. General accolades, snowman about. Here we are, Master Relaxer. So, you have to participate in Pavel's hide and seek game, enjoy the night fireworks show. The argument between the Klingon and the Trill at night can be found down on the beam-in point where you first arrive. and the various flying accolades will be done over the course of the floater missions. Mokbara, unless they have moved it, is over on the eastern side of the island. It's this cliff line to the north of the resort. So let's just power up the floater and go see if he's still there. Oh, of course, it's a rental floater. It's disappeared. Happily, I found where I put my standard issue on, so we'll just use that. And off we go. Yes, I cheaped out last year. Don't question it. I didn't have much spare time. So... and here we are. No, they haven't moved at all. So, you have your off-duty Klingons practicing Mokbara. Should you be Klingon aligned, you will be able to practice Mokbara with them. And if you aren't, you will get a rather rude objection instead. However, the powerboat race is about to start. So, let's quickly beam to the race start because it's given us the option. Grab a powerboard and see how badly wrong this is about to go. Oh wait, you actually need to have the powerboard. It really does beam you to the race start. Board. Well, this is going to be awkward. Never mind, it looks like we're going to be commentating instead. In 2, 1, and they're off. And they're off. They're off. And it's a mad dash because everyone's got the same very fast powerboard. Oh wow, top speed on those things is pretty good. And your commentator has been left just a little bit high and dry. Oh well. That happens at about 1/4 the hour, give or take. Aim to be there and have your board ready, ladies and gentlemen. It can be rather unforgiving at times. For those who fancy something a little more relaxing, we have the Risian Arenologist. This is essentially sandcastle building. Indeed. You can pick it up. You can pick up a few quests that'll get you Lohlunat favours in the course of doing this. An Arenologist is a specialist in the study of sand. And yeah, the sandcastle thing is a sideline. However, his main thing is the study of sand. Risa's geology used to be fairly unpredictable, as in, oh look, a volcano has erupted and flattened my house. Unpredictable, but modern terraforming solved that whole problem. Where can you build them? Much of the beach between the resort and the promenade is perfect for the task. There are castles set out, and more to the point, there are building spots marked with small pails and shovels. Instantly, if you are Klingon, there is a conversation option there that basically says, why would I be interested in this? And you get the explanation, well, consider an exercise in concepting defensive structures. Meanwhile, let's go find a spot. Here we are, build a sandcastle, and we need damp sand from the waterline. Let's go get this. So, pick up some damp sand. It is marked with quest shinies, but because of the sheer brightness of this level and the matching colours, it can be rather hard to see. Keep your eyes open. So we have 25% of the sand we need, then get a little more. Yeah, come on. Diggy hole. There we go, and start your sand sculpture before it falls apart in 2.5 minutes. So we can build a flat keep. Buildy castle, buildy castle. There we are. I've built a castle. And I can build new types of structures having finished the basic introduction quest. Also, there are various points at which you will have to dredge your sculpture. and indeed get rid of bugs and birds that will otherwise destroy it. This is essentially to ensure things get properly recycled. Incidentally, I don't seem to have a use option for dredging my sculpture, so it would appear that I am a... Oh, wait a second. What was that? What was that? No, right, that's very specific. Come on, go on. Ah! Oh, well. Farewell, sand sculpture. We hardly knew ye. Little bit of a bug there, I think. Not the most forgiving interaction zone. However, back to the arenologist. Not the archaeologist, the arenologist. Don't get them mixed up. Come on, bolt that. Thank you. And there we go, a couple of Lohlunat favours just on the quiet. 15-minute cooldown for those. There are bonus rewards, I believe it's every other hour, should you wish to engage in a little bit of peaceful, relaxing sculpture. And bear in mind, this is to be done with sand, not the ashes of dead Cardassians. Maka, please take note. Yeah, so he's got a small bug problem. Or rather, she has a small bug problem with her castle. You can see her scaring the bugs off there. And they're gone, and the castle is safe. Yay! Let's pop over this bridge. Pavel is a holdover from last year, for those who are wondering about the Master Relaxer accolade. He basically plays hide and seek around the island. And that, ladies and gentlemen, pretty much rounds us up on the new Risa events. The new swimwear, the new castles, the new ship. Surf is most definitely up, even if there are no actual waves with which to surf, so we'll make our own. Technology is a wonderful thing. All in all, ladies and gentlemen, even if you're only coming for the ship and the duty officers, Risa is well worth checking out. It's running until the 17th of July. Unless you want to blow low beyond the pearls, you are going to have to run the flying high quest some 25 times to get to your ship. So if I were you, ladies and gentlemen, I'd get started. I've been Yuzral. That has been the Holodeck happenings for the 6th of June. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the beaches. It's going to be an interesting summer. Farewell.